You got excited? Give them a big round of applause.
Hello.
You want to get in there? Get in there. Yeah.
There's enough space, yeah. And enough mics and everything, too.
All right, this room is so separated, nobody knows there's panels happening. So we need to act like something really amazing happened.
That's what yours is.
Like this one.
Oh my God!
Whoa! That's good.
What are you all doing here?
Yeah, they don't know either.
And they all come running in from outside. All right, should we introduce ourselves? What are you going to do?
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself. Welcome to our panels. We're doing the panels for Attack on Titan and Beastars and Demon Slayer. Fantastic voice actors. We have them introduced down the line. Go ahead, please.
All right, I am Robert McCollum. This is the Into the Darkness.
Into the Darkness.
I play some dark characters. I am Doflamingo in One Piece, a fairly dark character. I am Reiner in Attack on Titan, who is also a fairly dark and sad clown. Jalal from Fairy Tail, Stain from My Hero Academia, also a little bit dark. Fumito from Blood Sea, maybe the darkest character that I've ever played.
Your mic is cool.
I got the cool mic, the 5.7, rolling with the 5.7, and lots of other things. I do voices. Anyway, hi, I'm Rob.
Yeah! Rob!
I love Rob.
I love Rob!
We love Rob.
Hi, baby. Sorry I'm screaming.
Hi, no, it's all good. Hi.
Stop, I got it.
It's really loud in my ears.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not going to scream anymore because I'm upsetting my girlfriend.
Hi.
You know, like it's right.
Yeah,
right here.
yeah. I get it.
My name is Jonah Scott. I voice a lot of characters too. I voice Legacy in Beastars, who is dark in his own way. I voice a lot of bad guys too. I voice Kokushibo in Demon Slayer. I voice Katakuri in One Piece. I guess he's dark. I voice Tatsu the House Husband in Way of the House Husband. He was dark, but he's found the light, which is what this panel's all about, I guess. And let's see, probably a bunch of other ones too. You can Google me, it's fine. Scroll down the IMDb and you'll be like, oh, that one's pretty dark. That one's really grim. That one's really dark. I voiced Aiden Caldwell in Dying Light 2. Not necessarily anime, but he's real dark. He's kind of an anti-hero, but yeah, that's me. Thank you guys for having me.
Hey guys, I'm Elizabeth Maxwell, and
All right. That's awesome.
I'm like, what dark characters do I voice? Because I feel like, there's some darkness, but Zephia from Fire Emblem Engage is one of the only like straight up villains I can think of. A lot of other ones are like kind of like antagonists, Albedo from Overlord can be a bit antagonizing if you rub her the wrong way. But if you rub her the right way. What else? I guess Attack on Titan, yeah. I'm Amir from Attack on Titan. That's a pretty dark show. Among many other things.
Yeah.
So I'm getting an indication that this is the themed panel.
It's
Gerard, am I right?
You are right. This is a very themed panel.
Man, you guys brought me to a dark character panel. I don't play any bad guys.
From the darkness into the light.
Oh, except for the lead in a show called Darker Than Black, which is very dark. I was the Black Reaper. Black is dark, right? So
yeah, very much.
The Black Reaper, aka BK201. That was a long time ago, though, but that's one of my favorites. I know that there are people who consider a lot of my characters to be bad or villainous in some way, shape, or form, but I disagree. I think it's all about perspective, and I feel like they're doing what they had to do based upon the cards they were dealt. So
it also may just be your personal darkness that we want you to bring to this.
Yeah, there's that too. I do have that in spades.
This is actually just an intervention, Jason. We've all been asked you to talk through.
I do worry that it's all some sort of elaborate prank, and I'm just like, this isn't real. I told Rob earlier, I feel like I'm kind of cosplaying as a human today. So anyway, hi, Ernesto Jason Liebrecht at your service.
Hello. I'm Greg Chun. I voice Muzan. Nice to meet you. Hey, so nice. Muzan Kibutsuji in Demon Slayer, probably the darkest character I do, except for the black cat in Way of the House Husband.
Let's go!
So dark. Very, very dark. Cursing out another cat for pooping in the yard. And I guess this is not anime as well, but Squid Game's a pretty dark show, and my character has a lot of darkness in that English dub for Player 456. So that's me. Thanks for being here.
I love you, Greg Chun! We got it.
Well, thank you guys for your introductions.
I also play a black cat. I just want to point out, we have that in common. I feel like my mic went away.
I'd like to know
cut you
how.
off.
That's okay. I didn't play the music, so I didn't know.
I'd like to know how I can get to play a cat. I would like to play a cat.
I mean, mine was a dude who was called Black Cat. He's Trey Hartnett in a show called Black Cat, but he's just delivering some bad luck.
I'm pretty sure all of Tokyo is watching on this live stream right now. So they just, if you're looking for a black cat, Elizabeth is ready. She's primed and ready to go.
Meow.
Disney, if you're watching, I know you watch these a lot. You want to? She's ready.
Yeah, this is being streamed live to Disney and Tokyo.
Just those two.
Just those two.
Direct live stream.
Sorry, Nagasaki.
So, out of all your dark roles you guys have played, what is one of your favorite roles you got? Favorite lines you got done?
So the first villain I ever got to play, because I'd wanted to do villains forever, and I was doing Teen Goten and Young Heroes and Up Here. Come on, guys, we can do it. Up Here, guys. I'm like, I really want to do a bad guy. Lobbied Justin Cook forever to please let me be a bad guy, and he cast me as my first villain in Yu Yu Hakusho, Sensui. And I realized this is why I love villains and I want to play villains for the rest of my life. Because you get to say things you're not allowed to say in life. It's very therapeutic. And at one point he says, "Oh, that's right, I'm killing you. I'm sorry, I got distracted." Which you just don't get to say in life. Which is probably good that you don't say that in everyday life. But it was one of my favorite lines to ever get to say out loud.
That's a great line.
That's a very good line. Because I play a lot of anime villains, just high villain anime villains that are just evil. And some of them are lawful neutral, maybe. I guess you could kind of argue that. But I always, since I was a kid on the playground, doing my anime villain voice on the playground, I've always wanted to say one word, and it was always pathetic. And you get to say that constantly, and it's just it just works with the flaps. It's a good translation. It always is. It hits really hard, and I just love saying pathetic because I never get to say that to people. Get to as though I want to, but yeah, you never get to say that to people.
Like I said, I guess she's not full on a villain, but I feel again, Caulifla from Dragon Ball Super is very antagonistic, and I love that she has zero filter because I have 10 filters and try to be very careful with what I say, maybe overly so sometimes. But I just love that at one point in the show, she's just I didn't come here to make friends. And I'm like, hey girl, tell your truth. Yeah.
I had a very similar situation to Rob, actually. In the beginning, I was always the young hero and kind of got stuck in that zone until D. Gray Man, when I insisted on auditioning for the Millennium Earl. And they were like, "Nope, you're going to be Lobby." And I was like, "Nope, I'm not going to do that unless I can be the Earl." And in those days, you could say stuff like that and they would actually consider it. So they had me send in another audition where they were like, and we cannot be able to tell that it's the same person at all. And I don't remember any lines from the Earl. I got it, and I got to do both. But mainly, he just his laugh was awesome. And
I think your microphone is dead.
Is it dead? Hi.
That's wobbly right there.
Oh, dude.
You can use my mic.
Okay.
Where was I? Oh my God!
Yeah.
Anyway, the laugh was great. He had a mask too, so you could do whatever you wanted, which was great. But I guess Dobby, who I don't fully consider a villain, says lots of mean stuff. First thing we have to do is take away their sense of peace. That's a pretty good one.
It's pretty dark. Yeah.
I just realized I was Suman Dark in D Gray Man, which is a dark. Oh. Darkness is in the name. I should have listed that on the dark characters. Yes.
D Gray?
Gray is
Gray. Yeah.
I think my favorite Muzan line is when I'm actually in the form of a woman, but still have the same voice, and all of my minions are like kneeling before me, and I'm just kind of executing them one by one. And I said, "Why do you exist if your sole purpose has become to disappoint me?"
That's really
It's pretty cold. Yeah.
That's a good relationship line as well, just for dating purposes. I think that's good.
I mean, a lot of these could be mantras for life.
pathetic.
Yeah.
Phenomenal answers. Anybody on the crowd have any answers? Any questions you want to ask at all?
Jog on over there.
Hey, Zorro. Is that Zorro? Yeah, Zorro.
Hi, this is a question for all of you. I was wondering, like, where you guys get the inspiration for your voices for, like, any of the villain characters you do.
Whiskey and poor choices. I mean, Japan is where it all starts. We all do base things off of the characters that we're portraying, and you work with the director to kind of figure that out and play with it. And so you're taking it from the scene, but also it's just like, what's the vibe of this guy or girl, as the case may be. And yeah, anytime I can do low and gravelly, that just means I can walk in at 9 a.m. and actually do that voice. So it's like it's a guaranteed easy voice. So that's my spot.
Colleen, who cast my hero, did give me an indicator. We'd worked together a lot before, so what she said, though, was, you know, like if we're at the bar and some dude won't leave me alone and you need to tell him to go away, that voice. And I was like, oh, you mean like this, like F off.
Yeah, solid. Yeah. Sorry, baby, that's yours.
Well, it's ours.
Oh, that's so sweet. See?
Wholesome.
Wait, did you just make? Oh no, I was like, did you just make mine stop working? I mean, ours stop working. I don't know if I can think of like a super specific inspiration, but kind of like what Jason was saying. I think that like, for the most part, the best villains don't think that they're villains, right? And so one of the things that I love so much about playing villains is figuring out like what their worldview is and like how to connect with that in a way that I don't think that they're villains anymore either. Where I'm like, yeah, she deserves that. So yeah, not exactly the answer to your question, but.
I definitely take some, a lot off of visuals and off of the Japanese actors' vibe as well. But for me personally, I tend to just dial in, regardless of what kind of villain it is. I always want to summon a bit of my own personal trauma. And that's always just kind of bubbling underneath, I think. So Elizabeth is right. You don't want to be too overt and twist your mustache unless the part specifically calls for that. But as just kind of an undertone for somebody who does horrible things, I just sort of think back to things in my past that might be relevant and feelings that I may have had when I kind of had it out for somebody or something, and I let that color the performance.
Subtext, don't piss Greg off.
He's always got a bubble underneath. My inspiration, I grew up watching anime and like anime dubs, so I guess a lot of my inspiration came from people that did it before me too. Like I'm a classically trained actor and everything, and I kind of like fall back on that schooling and that teaching. I've done theater and all sorts of other like I guess you call it traditional performance, but there's a certain I voice the character I want to listen to, right? I voice the character that I want to hear come back over the speakers. Like I would watch Yu Yu Hakusho, I would watch Naruto, I would watch old One Piece and stuff like that, and those were my inspirations coming in, and kind of take that, learn from it, absorb it, and then inject a little bit of your own sauce into it and turn it into something that's new and evolving with the art form, because anime is mainstream now, and it's not just for the nerds anymore. It's for the teacher working, 6th grade teacher, and they come in and get an autograph and they want, Kokushibo line or something like that. And it's like, I did this because I wanted to watch this show with them and enjoy it with them and create something that everybody wanted to watch. So it's a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Fantastic question. We got a question right up here. Here you go.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering if you are in the middle of doing a voice and you have to do something like laugh or pretend to be somebody else, how do you layer that on top of the voice you're doing?
So doing like multiple different characters at the same time, or a very different character adjustment for that at the same time?
Kind of. More like if, Naruto is undercover as this person, he needs to make his voice sound like this person, but you are also doing a voice.
Right.
So if you've seen, I voiced a character who's basically Homelander but a Power Ranger in Go-Go Loser Ranger. I voiced the Red Keeper, and there's a character that assumes his identity because they can just transform it because they're the random monsters out in the Power Rangers world, so they can just transform into another character. So he transforms into me and does my voice, but I do the voice as though it is Zeno Robinson doing the voice. So I took some of Zeno's cadence and dropping a lot of the G's at the end of amazing. He's like amazing, right? Instead of saying amazing as amazing, Red Keeper would say it. He's like, I'm doing an impression of somebody else doing an impression of me, and that was really fun. But a lot of it is I know Zeno, he's a good friend of mine, so I just kind of steal little mannerisms that he has and adopt that into whatever that character is. That's a very unique specific thing. Legoshi also does a whole lot of undercover stuff, and he's not a good actor. He works as a lighting technician on stage, right? So he likes to think he's a good actor, but he tries to act as though what he thinks a good actor would perform as. So he does this fake James Bond kind of voice and this Playboy kind of thing going on. But it's not it's just acting. You just kind of add the layers on there. I know it sounds like just do it, stupid, but it's just acting. You grow up. You work on these characters so much that they kind of become second nature at a certain point. So it's a good.
You're so good in that show, by the way. The Red.
Oh, thanks, man.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome.
Go watch Go-Go Loser Ranger.
Go-Go Loser Ranger. It's awesome. For me, a lot of times it boils down to mechanics, and placement. So if you're doing a character for Muzan, I have to open up my throat really big. So if I'm doing it, if he was doing a voice of somebody else, well, your throat stays open like this. And so if I have to laugh, it's already sort of expanded to sort of stay in character. Similarly, if you do a character that's right up front here in your nose and you're trying to imitate somebody else, well, if you keep the placement here, then anything you do is going to kind of fit into that universe, So a lot of times it's kind of taken care of for you to a certain degree.
We also cheat. There are times when, if one character is super yelly and screamy and then another mood or tone is very conversational and down, we'll do all the screamy stuff at the end of the session. We'll go do it, separate things out, sometimes even different days, but we'll come in and okay, this is the fight scene, this is the battle or the power-up yell or the Kamehameha or whatever it's going to be. Save that for the end of the session because you may blow your throat out and then you can't go back to the others. So you figure out which ones are the least strain and record those, and you might be doing line 48, 72, 89, and 184, and then you go back and do the others. So we can kind of cheat in that way. They also keep references for us because sometimes it's months or even years in between recording sessions. For One Piece, my character will go away for 2-3 years at a time and then come back, but they always have a reference line stored, a key phrase that we can use to slot back into that character or even that character in a specific mood or tone. Sensui had 7 different personalities and had to talk to himself. And in Fairy Tail, there's Jalal and Mystigan and Seagrain and a lot of different people. And so, I thought they were vastly different intonements and I'm doing totally different characters. Now I go back and listen and no, they all kind of sound like me. I'm not as cool as I thought I was. But we had reference lines to remember, how is this shaded? So the directors and the engineers can help us cheat. We don't always have to be brilliant.
It's not cheating.
It's using the tools available to you.
There you go. Sorry, David.
But good question, yeah. Got one over there and is there one in the back?
Right here over here for you. Go ahead.
So my amazing sister in the nifty cosplay next to me, she wanted to ask all of you guys this question. Aside from the characters you voice, what are your favorite characters in the show that like the characters you voiced?
Other characters other than our own that we love in the shows that we are in? Okay.
My favorite is Rengoku in Demon Slayer. The whole, I love Rengoku so much, and the whole Mugen Train thing had me bawling like a child at the end. So it was, he's the best.
I love Brooke from One Piece. Ian Sinclair voices that character, but I love that character, and that's my favorite of those. In Attack on Titan, Jean. I think John is a great character. Mike McFarlane, the director who made the whole thing amazing in what it was, but he's the voice of John, which never had a pop until just now, which is such an injustice, but now finally John has his own pop, but I think he's the most sarcastic and probably my favorite character, not Reiner, in that show.
I like Ace in One Piece. Ace is probably one of my favorite characters in anime, period. He's fantastic.
Maybe this is cheating a little bit, but I love like literally every single character in Fruits Basket. I just think that that's like one of the most masterful dubs, and I am in love with all of them. I'm sorry.
I like Midnight a lot from My Hero.
End of answer.
Thank you very much. I'm going to transition over to bringing Robin over here. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm wondering who your favorite villain is.
Favorite villain?
It's not anime, is that okay?
Yeah. Yes.
I love Yzma from Emperor's New Groove so much. Eartha Kitt is the SHIT.
Yes, that is a solid choice.
So many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I really liked Gary Oldman's Dracula. That was
Also Gary Oldman in The Fifth Element.
That's great. Yeah.
Also Gary Oldman in The Professional.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yeah. He takes those pills, man. Yeah, that's great. Gary Oldman in life too. That's just
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Gary Oldman, really. I base a lot on him. Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Although again, maybe not a villain.
I was saying, is he really a villain?
No, he's not a villain. Never mind.
I will cheat and say one of my own characters because I love Doflamingo in One Piece because he is so pure. Like we talk about the conflicted anti-hero or the people that have conflicted backstories, the guys that don't know they're a bad guy or have it. No, he is fully committed to the fact that he is totally evil and loves it and revels in it and makes no apologies for it. And sometimes it's nice to play an unapologetically bad person.
Plus, the way he looks, man, you got it, right? I mean,
the coat alone is just epic. Also, walk like you've been riding a horse even if you live on a ship. Like, yeah, it makes total sense. I love it.
Gary Oldman in True Romance.
This is not, I don't know if she's really like a villain per se, but in One Punch Man, Christina V's Mosquito Girl I love her performance so much in that. And she seems pretty negative, so I'd call her a villain.
I like Venom. Venom's not really a villain. I guess he's a villain. He's a bad guy, but Venom is one of my favorites. Let's see, who else? It's a lot of comic book villains. I read a lot of comic books, so I mean, you pick any comic book villain, and they've been written well at least once.
Also, both Vanilla Ice and Dio in JoJo's. I mean, amazing.
I swear this is not to promote myself. Let me preface that. But this is not anime per se, but there's a game called Lost Judgment where I play a character named Yagami. The villain in that is voiced by Matt King, and his name is Soma. And that is seriously one of the most inspiring villain performances I've ever seen in anything. So if you're up for playing it, he's absolutely incredible in it. And the crazy thing about Matt is that he's in a bunch of Yakuza games and the Judgment games, playing a different character in each one, and he's probably if I had to choose the one voice actor I know who can change his voice to sound completely different and yet remain grounded and natural. Like it's not a wacky voice, right? But he changes his voice to be another normal person that doesn't sound like him or either of them at all. He's just a master at that. So look up Matt, he's pretty amazing.
I mean, this isn't really a villain, but I just forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I hate when that happens. Oh, man. Oh, well. That's okay. I'll remember it, and I'll tell you guys.
I'll go shout out to Iago in Othello.
Did Gary Oldman ever play Iago?
I'm sure he did. Had to have happened. Had to have happened.
Summer stock or something.
Oh, I remember. Vincent Valentine, not a villain, but aesthetically badass. Right? Still, you look at him and you're just like, wow, he's going to be a bad guy. But no, he turns out and comes around to help everybody. But I love Vincent Valentine aesthetically. He's great.
All right. Those are
next question.
Robert De Niro and Angel Heart.
Hello. I'm Tamia. I met some of y'all yesterday. Hi. My question is, what are your experiences with voice acting, like the good and the bad?
First of all, your cosplay is amazing.
Yes.
I have to say. I think the biggest, I haven't played many anime heroes. I've played heroes in video games, or at least protags, right? And I find that, the villains are typically a little bit more complicated, I find. The ones that are, when you're playing a hero, a lot of times it's pretty straight ahead, and you're just sort of this righteous, a little bit more of a neutral character that doesn't have necessarily as much going on. A villain, there's a reason why they're so screwed up. And so I think for protags and stuff, a lot of times I just try and sort of keep calm and straight and whatever. There's emotions that you feel, but they're kept within a certain box. The villains, I think you're a lot more free to just be a little bit wackadoodle, and that's always kind of fun.
When you talk about the good and bad of just being an anime voice actor, the good is getting to come to cons like this and meet you guys. Nobody else's job lets you come meet the people you've impacted more than, I think, specifically voiceover. Even films and things like that, you don't get this level of interaction with people on a regular basis, so we're super lucky. Sometimes when you are doing that job, you also have to sit next to Jason on a panel, and he screams right in your ear, so that's like the bad side of that same coin. But
I think I totally misunderstood the question. I'm so sorry about that. Well, I gave an answer that's not at all.
You were sincere.
I meant it.
That counts for a lot.
So
I thought it was a good answer regardless.
So, yeah. But you're saying what is good and bad about actually doing this job and being a voice actor. Oh, okay. The worst part is just screaming. That's it. When you have to scream too much and it actually hurts, that's the downside. Everything else it's the best job in the world.
I'd say it can be difficult to deal with the fact that regardless of the length of your resume or the time in the business, you still receive the same amount of rejection. It doesn't change, and you've got to be prepared for that. If this is what you want to do, then that's part of the deal, and it never changes. Like, you're always going to have your heart broken by certain auditions not going your way. And that's difficult.
And there are no guarantees that you're going to work the next day. It doesn't matter how amazing your resume is or how well known you're. You may not be working 2 months from now. You may not be working for the next year because of the way roles come along and the way that the competition is and that sort of thing. It's not like you're going to be like, oh, I have bills coming up, I'm going to put in extra shifts. We don't get to control, other than coming to conventions, which we can do, we don't, as an actor, get to control our own hours and say, I'm going to work harder and do more work. You're waiting for the phone to ring, and that is the same if you are Gary Oldman or if you are, one of us.
If you're booking 1% of your auditions in a given month, you're killing it.
Yeah.
And that's a weird way to look at it, but it's true.
I swear to God, this is not a complaint. I haven't booked anything in 6 months. Like, this is just like being transparent. Sometimes it just happens like that, and you just kind of like roll with the punches. It may seem like somebody's booking constantly, but in reality, they're just like, sitting on their hands, riding season 2 or season 3 of something, and it's just kind of like what are you going to cobble together to make things work for a particular month or a particular couple of months? I guess with the whole, like, I guess part of the bad things is the screaming. And when you become known for, oh, this guy screams good, let's just get him in here and do some screaming, and get him in here and do some screaming. And when like the word spreads with producers, and they're just like, yeah, he is good at screaming. Let's get him in here and do some screaming. Let's get him in here. You're great at screaming, man. And you're just like, yeah, I know, thanks. I'm gonna do this for 2 more hours, and then I'm done for the week. But the good part is, I absolutely love doing this, meeting everybody. I love the work. I love doing it. I like screaming. I think it's fun. I like being bad guys. It'd be cool to be a hero every now and again, but I love playing bad guys. It's cathartic, So yeah, it's good and bad.
They kind of stole my bad answer, but I will say one other thing that I find kind of funny is that there are voice actors out there that are so good at accents that it makes all the directors and casting directors think that every single voice actor can do every single accent. And then I've literally showed up in a session and they're like, okay, this character is going to have a Norwegian accent. So, and I'm like, that's not on my resume. Like, that's not in my back pocket, guys. I can't do every single accent.
I can't do every
known to
single
man.
act. Just, there's some that elude me.
But I think for me...
I was raised by a dirty foreigner. I love my father.
I think for me, one of my favorite things, because most of us, I think, also do on-camera acting as well. And I started out doing on-camera before I got into voiceover. And obviously with on-camera, very much of what you get cast as is dependent upon how you look. And we can only control that to a certain degree, and it can be very frustrating, and it can make you feel really powerless and helpless sometimes. And so I love with voiceover that a lot of that was taken away, and it's like I can play another sex if I want. I can be a little boy. I can be something that's not human. I can be like a character that's wildly older or younger than me. The sky is kind of the limit in what you can do with your voice, and that is a very freeing feeling, I think, especially as a woman in this industry.
Yeah, I play a character with 32 abs. Not real. Not a vocal match to my abs, but that's the beauty of...
You sound like you have.
You can get old and fat and ugly and keep on playing young, beautiful people when you're a voiceover person.
You'll never be ugly to me.
To be fair, 32 abs is too many. That actually does.
Flamingo's abs have abs of their own.
We have a question right over here.
Hello. Hi. Right here. Good. I have a question for Elizabeth and Jason. I wanted to ask because, I'm sorry, I'm shaky. Keeping on the theme of dark animes or dark theme animes, I wanted to know what was your experience working on Noragami, because I know that the show does take turns into dark places, and I know with no spoilers, but Yato's past and what he wants to be now. I was curious about that.
I'm tearing up just thinking about it.
I mean, I miss that show a lot. I always tell people that Yato is my most schizophrenic character. I mean, he's literally a goofball and a freaking ill-tempered badass warrior, and he's every shade in between those 2 points. That is quite rare, and I'd love for it to come back. I personally feel like it will come back, because never underestimate the power of corporate greed. They're not going to leave that money on the table, in my opinion. Elizabeth doesn't necessarily agree with me. Are you taking pictures of people? I love you.
I will say that this is legit, not a joke. For many years, on my birthday, when I blow out my candle, I wish for a Noragami season 3.
She's not joking, but it's not unlike the way that sometimes doing certain things in a more villainous role or what's considered a darker role can be cathartic or therapeutic. I feel like, for me anyway, Yato, because of this schizophrenia, it allows you to have some agency in all sorts of situations that you might not ever find yourself in, or where you've been in and you could not act that particular way. So, I don't know, it's oddly healing, and I miss it.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, that's also, it is, I know I'm biased, but it's in my top 5 favorite anime of all time. And part of the reason why I love it is because I do feel like it blends so well between comedy and drama. And for me, that scene in season 2 where Bishamon has her breakdown, usually, when we're dubbing, we kind of watch small chunks of stuff at a time and then chase it. But because it was such an emotionally charged scene, Caitlin, the director, we sat down and watched the whole thing. And I have never been as impressed with a seiyuu as I was by her performance of that scene. It was absolutely masterful, and was a huge bar to reach.
So was yours, baby.
Well, thank you. It is honestly one of the most proud I've ever been of anything that I've done in anime, because it's both technically really difficult to like have one side of your brain be like, okay, so she sniffs twice there, and then she like hiccup, cough, sobs for like half a second, and then she wails for 5 seconds, and then she breathes in, out. Like, it's very technically difficult to match some of that nonverbal stuff while also like digging deep enough to get to like the realness and genuineness of the emotion. So yeah, it's I love that show and I love that character so much.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah. I could talk about Noragami all day.
There are those shows though that, like, I mean, nobody was really tearing up in Dragon Ball, but then you kind of think this is light fluff, and then every once in a while you get a show that you're like, oh, I'm crying from watching just the scene in Japanese one time through. Like the depth and breadth of anime is such that there is every level of emotion and every level of thing, and that's another reason we're lucky to do that, because every day walking in for an audition or for a job, you have no idea where you're going to end up going or what character you might get to explore. So it's very lucky.
Oh, nice. That was cool.
Mic drop!
The other one. That thing's indestructible.
End of answer!
Hi. So my question is for all of y'all. When it comes to the work that you've done, what has been the hardest character for you? I don't mean physically, I mean on an emotional level, on connecting with the character to build that framework.
First of all, a lot of us are in Texas, so I appreciate the y'all and not the you guys or yous guys, but thank you. It makes us feel at home.
Legoshi and Beastars is probably the most emotionally difficult one I had to do, because like I don't want to spoil too much, but he experiences loss that I have experienced in my life personally, and I knew, because I've read the manga, I knew that was coming. But when we do another quirk of our job is we don't know what we're recording when, really, right? Sometimes it's, you know, oh, I can imagine we're going to record maybe 3 episodes today or something like that, or you do the first 2 episodes really quickly and they're like, we can do another 2, it's good with the time that you have left, or they kick you out early, you know, whatever. But I didn't know that event, you know, that whole scene was going to be that particular day. And I sat there and we got through, you know, some of the lighthearted comedy bits in the first half of the episode, and then it like really smacks you in the face. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know I had to do this today. This whole wound is still fresh for me. Why, like, I'm gonna have to like, and I told the director, we got like 1 take down, and I was actually crying in the booth, and I was just like, hey, I need to take a lap around the studio, and I need to like go outside and get some fresh air, and then come back here in 15 minutes, and then maybe we'll be able to get a second take in. But like, I didn't know this was happening. I explained everything to the director. They were very understanding. Like, they got it. But that was the take that they ended up using, was me actually crying in the show, and I didn't know what because again, we don't know what the production is going to take in the end. And when I sat down and watched that scene, I'm just like, okay, yeah, that worked. I didn't need to do any, you know, additional takes or anything like that. That was what I felt, that was what the character felt, and that's what's important, is what the character felt and everything, and how they behaved in that scenario. So yeah, the Beastars is probably the most emotionally taxing, but like on a lighthearted note, the most physically taxing I've ever done was Tatsu, the house husband, because everything he does is like, every other line is like super loud and very yelly, and it's like constant like diatribes for like a minute solid, and we record that with Rhythmo band, not like traditional cells. So that's just like, here's the whole scene, do the scene, and when you burn out, that's when we'll stop. And I was burning out on these like 45 seconds into these monologues. So yeah, well, both of those were difficult in different ways.
You started. No, you had the mic up.
I did? Oh, no, I was just, you know, it was just a thing. But a little bit of a roundabout answer to your question. So for me, it's not a particular character that I had connection with, because I feel like if you get cast in that role, the casting director heard something in you that resonated with them. So for me, difficulty connecting with the character is more based on the day and the circumstances I happen to be going through. So if it's supposed to be a very lighthearted thing and I feel like crap and stuff's going horribly in my own personal life, you got to kind of snap out of it. And similarly, like if you're in a really great mood and then you got to all of a sudden be a friggin' bummer in a scene, yeah, that's where you really have to those are the challenging times where you have to go, okay, I got to leave my crap outside of the booth and I'm just going to go in and do my job. So that's how it works for me.
You were going to say something, right?
Rob always says, I love that about you. I have only broken down where we had to break once, and it was pretty recently. It was in Toya, aka Dobby's reunion with his brother and his father, with the family. I guess mom was there too. Basically, though, that character is very much therapeutic for me to do because I'm an abandoned kid, right? My mother gave me up when I was very young, and I had no agency. I was a little kid, so. This is something I contend with to this day. I mean, it's something I've been in therapy for, and it's something that I'm never going to outgrow. I was a kid who wasn't wanted, and that's okay. I'm a great dad, and I think that's part of that. Like, I've turned it that direction. But in that particular sequence, I literally, it was when Endeavor came to him and said he should have come back for him. And it immediately makes me think, like, why didn't she want to do that, you know? And to have more agency in that moment, to be able to tell him to F off, like, forget it, it's too late, was so cathartic that, I don't know, it was also a moment between friends. Like, I'm good friends with Patrick Seitz and David Matranga. We had a group thread for all of our recording sessions for this moment. And, you know, we just kept breaking each other because they know my story, and Patrick is a lovely man, and he knows what happened to me as a kid, and so he's having to play that part. And, you know, so he recorded part of it that I got to hear, and he broke me. And then I got to record a chunk, and he continued, and then I immediately get texts after his session like, oh my God, Jason, I couldn't get through this thing. Like, Jesus Christ. So, I mean, the thing is, though, sure, it's difficult, but if you're fortunate enough to be in a position where you can have this kind of therapy, I do think it's a very good thing for you, ultimately, to be able to kind of relive these moments where you had no control, you had no agency, and do something different, even if it's out of the realm of reality or out of the realm of your moral compass allowing you to do said behaviors. It's still helpful. It's still therapy. Anyway.
Gosh, how do I follow this stuff up?
Just being truthful.
I know. I think for me, the hardest character for me to play was actually Ymir from Attack on Titan. And I mean, not only was it an incredibly emotional role, but I think in a lot of ways she was the most different from me, like mentally, internally. We had, you know, very different life experiences, and how she chose to handle things was wildly different from how I would in my own personal life. And, you know, especially with a show like Attack on Titan that goes on for so long, I feel like sometimes the longer you're with a character, the more attached to them you get, the more you want good things for them. And like trying to wrap my head around like her decision to like go back at the end was nearly broke my brain. Like, it was so hard for me to find a way to like justify that in my own mind to play it for her.
My toughest was also Attack on Titan. Reiner's journey was immense, and you knew it was a big deal and that people were watching it, so there was a real responsibility to deal with it with responsibly and correctly, and we actually talked to some mental health folks about traumatic dissociative disorder and some of the things he was going for. It's not bipolar, it's not schizophrenia, it's just this reaction to the situation. And then as he just got more and more broken as the weight of things happened, the scene, similar to you, I watched the scene in Japanese when he's in the basement asking to be killed and saying, I just want to end this. And he's crying in the scene. I watched it all the way through with Mike, just very quietly. We sat there, watched the entire scene. I was crying. Mike said, go, we're going to roll on the whole scene straight through, no breaks. And about half of that is what is in the actual final mix. So it's my crying from watching the original scene is actually in the take. But it was one of those things where, like, yeah, that was tough, but it was also more that I wanted to pay homage to it because it was so well written and so powerful. You don't want to screw it up. You want to give the credit to it and do credit by it when you do it. So, but yeah, that was mine. And again, that's what good writing is. Good writing affects you in that ways, and good writing happens in anime all the time, whether it is the silliest, most fluff thing, or the most action drama, planets exploding, or whatever. There are still moments of humanity all the way through anime that I think get undervalued and underrepresented, and I think it's cool.
It is cool. It is cool.
All extremely emotional, really great questions. There you go.
Hello. Hope you guys are having a good afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, man.
So I have like a really
Having a mostly good time.
So I think you guys have a really awesome job, and you probably love every role you've done. But you have to there might be some you might like less, or maybe even roles that you didn't want to do. Was there a role that you maybe didn't want to do and you did, or maybe even a performance that you had that you thought wasn't the best, but then maybe became one of your favorite roles because of the fandom or just like how it was received? That's my question. Thank you.
I can say yes to half of that. Finian from Black Butler has become progressively more difficult for me to do physically. He's my most high-pitched character, a Cockney accent, that high-pitched, sustained over a long session has become way more difficult for me as I've gotten older. Yet, he remains mine. And famously, when Colleen was casting this, I pointedly did not audition for Finian. I auditioned for every other male character, and they used to not tell you who you got. So you'd get called into the studio, and you'd have no idea who you were going to play. I knew I had a Black Butler session that was just starting. I show up, step in the booth, I'm like, so who am I? And she's like, Finian. I'm like, I didn't even audition. She's like, baby, you're Finian. Sorry. And I'm like, all right, great. She's like, who else? Okay, right now, who else? I'm like, great, thanks so much. Anyway, he's a lovely character, and I am so grateful that there are many people who feel touched by him. He's again got a terrible backstory. He's an experiment. He's thrown out like a piece of garbage. There's a lot there to love, but he's also comic relief. He's also extremely high pitched. He's also physically difficult for me to do. The engineers will tell me that my body language, like sometimes because I record out of Austin, I'll do Fire Force and then One Piece, and then at the end we'll do Black Butler. And they're like, you see your body language, you're having such a good time, having such a great time, and then suddenly you get to Finian and I get like very stiff, hands behind my back like I'm in the military suddenly, trying to get these words out and get them perfectly, and he's got crazy flaps. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
For me, I actually will not play a role that I'm not excited to play. Because I just know I'm not going to be good at it, and I don't want work out there where I'm just kind of doing a crappy job, And so, typically, there was an audition that came to me several months ago where it was the character was very evil. Not that Muzan's not evil, but this particular character was a perpetrator of sexual violence, and I just couldn't do it. I just said I'm just not going to do that, So. I know what my limits are, and I think if I take on a character, I already am excited about it. So there's never really been a case where something I somehow hated doing it and then turned it around. I just didn't do it in the first place.
I have had buyer's remorse because I didn't know the details of a character, and a lot of times when we're recording super fast, you're going in there and the director may not even know how the show is if it's not based on a manga. And usually I try not to read ahead because I want to be surprised and be able to react to that in the moment, this new bit of information that's come back to bite me one time. Blood Sea. I don't want to spoil anything, but I play a very nice, sweet character, and then with 2 episodes left, you find out he is a horrible, horrible human being. And it's not space, and it's not a monster magical fantasy. It's a real person doing horrible, horrible things that I never would have auditioned for had I known. But it was great. It was the reason it's one of the performances people like because he's so convincingly lovely for the first 9 episodes of the show. He's the nicest, sweetest, caring person because that's who I thought he was. And I only found out in the last. So the audience's reaction to that change was exactly mine in the booth. Like, what? Oh, this is awful. So I'm kind of glad I didn't know because I was able to do it, or I might not have tried it.
I also, what you said, Greg, I think today I would not take that and I would not audition for it and I would not be cast as that character. But we're talking, early days of Funimation. I'm still doing this as a side quest while I'm trying to get on camera work. And you know, I didn't think that I did not feel that I had the power to go in there and be like, I'm not playing this. You know what I mean? You kind of gradually get to know that. Not to mention the fact that over 10 years has passed, so the way I'm able to approach this has changed. I've changed. Anyway.
No, that makes sense. And actually, the only reason I've been in a position to do that is that my career, I was a composer, writing music for TV commercials and TV programs and stuff. I still do that as part of my job, but I was never in that super hungry actor phase. So I had the luxury of being like, I don't really want to do this part, you know. But I can imagine if acting was what I was doing and that was it, then I probably would have been like, well, I don't want to do this character, but I'll do it because I need the job and I need the experience and everything. So I was almost 40 when I started pursuing voiceover, and so I had the luxury of having a career already and just pursuing it as really a side hustle until it.
I didn't think you were 40 now.
50 works out. November.
It works out.
Woo-hoo! Old people. Awesome.
You get me by one. I got the honor of voicing Raiden Suga in '86, and if you have not seen '86, you totally should. I had no idea what it was when I got cast. It's based on a light novel series, which is actual reading, and that's something I don't really do. The manga is neat. Comic books are cool. I look at pictures and everything. I do read. I'm not illiterate, but it's something where I was just like, oh, this is neat, and this is a lot of text for me to read before I have a session in like 4 days. So I wasn't able to go and like binge the manga and like get a backstory for it. So I went in and I was just like, oh, this is just a rip-off of Attack on Titan. This is just like a war drama. It's just kids and stuff like that. But as we kept doing it, it was a story about found family. It was a story about war and misinformation and propaganda. It was a story about warring nation states. And as I realized, the story was so intense and well written, and the dynamics between all the characters was so the web between them was so strong and tight knit, and everybody's performance was insanely good. It was directed by Ezra Wise, who really knows. He's like an actor's director, and he really lets you like kind of live in the scene and breathe everything. And he's one of the few directors where he goes like, if it doesn't fit the flap, I don't care. Just like if the performance is really good, we'll keep the performance and then just kind of make it massage it as much as we can so that it does fit the flaps and it's mechanically serviceable but narratively impactful. And it's a very important series to me for a lot of reasons. But Raiden Suga is like the big brother character, like the penultimate big brother character that I've played in my career, and he's really grown on me. So if you haven't seen 86, please go watch 86. I was completely ignorant of how powerful a series it was.
The one that immediately came to mind for me, who asked this question? Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. So I'll be honest, harem anime is not my personal cup of tea. And I was asked to do Girlfriend, Shino and Girlfriend for season 1. I didn't audition for the part. And they kind of explained the premise of the show to me, and I was like, I don't know, y'all, that's not really my thing. And the director was like, please. And so I did it, and had an okay time doing season 1. It was fine. And then I found out that they were doing a season 2, and I was like, all right, here we go. But man, I don't know what happened. It was like the writing got so much better, and Leah Clark did the adaptation. She got the show. Like, she made the writing even better. The director gave us carte blanche to improvise. Like, everybody knew their character really well. Everybody just went bonko bananas with it. And
You just made up a new thing for
I went from feeling very blasé about the show to having some of the most fun I've ever had in the booth working on season 2 of that show. I laughed so hard at the writing, at the performance of my colleagues, and it's still a very polarizing show, but I'm actually really proud of season 2 of that show now.
That's awesome.
All right, 3 minutes left. Speed round.
Tres minutos. Oh, no more
Unfortunately, we're only
questions.
calls, and now we got a minute left. What a minute.
I didn't mean to scare you off.
We gotta start wrapping up, but thank you guys for your time. You guys give them a big round of applause, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This
Thank
is
you for
officially
coming.
the Bungo Bananas panel. You were here. Make Bungo Bananas happen in 2025.
This is Erica Harlicker Stone, and you're watching Fandom Spotlight. Yay! Make sure to like and subscribe. Do it right now. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. I don't know why you aren't doing it. Seriously, I'm gonna keep saying it until you do it. Ugh. Okay, thank you. Yay! Remember to have fun and follow your fandom. Bye!